Adolf Hitler, the face of Nazism. Under his leadership, the most terrible and inhumane acts of World War II were committed. But what was the Führer really like? In his private life, very few people had access to him or truly got to know him. In this new video from Military History, we'll hear the testimonies of those who were close to the most terrifying figure of the German regime. Clara Pelzal. Before Nazism, before hatred, before war, there was a mother. A simple woman, soft-spoken, gentle-eyed, and devoted at heart, who gave birth to a boy named Adolf in a small Austrian town. That woman was Clara Pelzal, and those who knew her say she was loving, tender, and fiercely protective. She was also the first safe haven of the man who, decades later, would unleash the greatest bloodshed the world had ever seen. Of the 6 children Clara had, with Adolf Hitler, only 2 survived childhood, Paula and Adolf. Alois was harsh, irascible, and violent, and Adolf suffered directly from his temper. But Clara was the opposite. She provided him with care and unconditional love. To her, her son was special. She tolerated everything: his rebellion, his whims, his aversion to school. She washed his clothes, cooked for him, encouraged him to paint, bought him a piano, and always believed in his dream of becoming an artist. Their bond grew stronger after Alois's death in 1903. Clara was left alone, and teenage Adolf became the center of her world. In 1907, when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, he was just 18. That was the only time in his life when Adolf showed real, tangible human love. He gave up everything to care for her. He slept beside her in the kitchen, the warmest room in the house. He tended to her, searched for remedies, and questioned doctors. One of them, the Jewish physician Eduard Bloch, would later say, "I have never witnessed a closer attachment." Clara died on December 21st, 1907. They say Adolf was never the same. That loss marked him for life. From then on, his character became more erratic, more withdrawn, darker. The dreamy young man began to fade into frustration, poverty, and bitterness. For decades, some have speculated that Clara Hitler's death not only left an emotional scar, but also planted the seed of racial hatred. One theory claims Adolf blamed Dr. Bloch for not saving her. That personal resentment, it said, sparked his future anti-Semitism. But the evidence tells a different story. After Clara's passing, Hitler expressed deep gratitude for Bloch's care and even sent New Year's cards to his family for 2 straight years. He referred to him, as he once wrote, as a noble Jew. Even in 1937, when he was already in power, Hitler asked party members in Linz about his old doctor. He wanted to know if Bloch was still alive and practicing medicine. When Bloch was later interrogated by the Nazis, Hitler gave explicit orders that he not be harmed and allowed him to emigrate to the United States, a highly unusual act in the Third Reich. Rather than being the source of his hatred, Bloch seems to have represented something else entirely. A Jewish man Hitler, for some reason, simply could not hate. Adolf would carry a photo of his mother for the rest of his life. Her picture was found in the Berlin bunker next to his corpse in April 1945. That faded portrait was perhaps the last trace of tenderness in a man who left only death behind. August Kubizek. After a turbulent childhood, Hitler entered adolescence, a bohemian, miserable, and deeply formative time that he shared almost exclusively with one friend, August Kubizek. They met around All Saints' Day in 1904 during an opera performance in Linz. Kubizek, the son of an upholsterer and a modest woman, remembers competing with a pale, thin teenager, his eyes blazing, for the same spot, a column in the cheapest part of the theater. That's where an unlikely friendship was born. tied together by a shared passion for art. August played the violin with enthusiasm, while Adolf dreamed of becoming a painter and architect. Kubizek describes a solitary young man, extremely reserved, with little or no interest in sex, uneasy with physical contact, and deeply uncomfortable with the human body. Yet, in contrast, Hitler had a wildly inflated vision of himself. He believed he was destined for greatness, even though he lacked money, formal education, or actual skills. His artistic ambitions were both grand and desperate. In 1907, he applied to the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna, but failed. He tried again in 1908 with the same result. Both rejections shattered him.
Yet again you are moving your arms. I am attempting a looser style and you are making it most difficult.
Looser?
It is a term we use in art. I will master it and show that idiot at the academy.
Adolf, and of course, this will not happen, but if you do not gain entrance...
Why would I not gain entrance? Why would you even ask this?
Well, if I do not become a musician...
Are you calling me a liar? When I looked my dying mother in the eye and promised her that I would not fail, are you saying that I was deliberately lying?
Kubizek traveled to Vienna with him, and for a few months, they shared a cramped room. According to the musician, Adolf lived in a state of constant emotional tension, swinging from melancholy to frantic excitement and sudden rages. He couldn't handle criticism. If someone contradicted him, he'd erupt, shouting, slamming doors, or storming out. He didn't debate, he dictated. His speech was passionate and fluid, but never inviting. Hitler also had a compulsive obsession with order and cleanliness. He was meticulous. His pants were always folded the same way, perfectly ironed, and he never left the house unless impeccably dressed. Even then, he understood the power of image, long before using it as a political weapon. The contrast with Kubizek deepened after Adolf's second rejection from the academy, when he suddenly disappeared.
Journey...
Shut up! Why must you always provoke me with these banal requests?
Adolf...
Time after time, you bombard me with a mediocrity that affects my soul and my work!
That is not fair, or true.
You pathetic little country boy climbing up the greasy pole in your cheap suit. Go and live with your artist friends and wallow in their decadent filth!
Goodbye, Adolf.
Come back here! You will come back and listen to what I have to say, Kubizek!
He paid his share of the rent, left without saying goodbye, and descended into misery. For years, he lived like a vagrant in Vienna, sleeping on benches, under bridges, and in shelters. He ate in charity kitchens and wore rags. Only in 1910, thanks to a communal residence partially supported by Jewish benefactors, did he find a sliver of stability. Kubizek went on with his life as a musician. He never again formed such a close bond with anyone. And although he briefly reunited with Hitler decades later, by then the Führer, what remains is his testimony. The most intimate, human, and disturbing portrait of the young man who dreamed of becoming an artist and ended up unleashing the greatest horror of the 20th century. Herbert Göring. Herbert Göring wasn't just another employee of the Third Reich. For nearly 10 years, he served as caretaker of one of Hitler's most private and mysterious residences. The Berghof, also known as the Eagle's Nest, a secluded mountain retreat in the Bavarian Alps.
So kam es, dass ich Herrn Hitler 8 Jahre privat treu gedient habe in dem Glauben, ich leiste für ihn, für Deutschland, für die Allgemeinheit, für unser Volk was. Dann habe ich Hitler kennengelernt von allen Seiten. Er war mein Chef, das streite ich nie ab.
Göring witnessed the dictator's obsessions, mood swings, and personal relationships up close. His testimony, given decades after the regime collapsed, offers a different view of Hitler. Not the proud orator before a massive crowd, but a man trapped in his own maze of power, isolation, and contradictions. It was in this enclosed space, ruled by strict protocols and quiet secrets, that Göring met Eva Braun, the Führer's lover, hidden carefully from public view. At the Berghof, you weren't allowed to talk about Eva Braun to anyone, Göring later recalled, referring to the unspoken taboo surrounding her. He first saw her one morning on the terrace, walking with Hitler. She was elegant and well-dressed, but seemed moody, he observed. From then on, he realized Eva wasn't just another guest. She was uncomfortably ever-present, ignored in public, but dominant in Hitler's private life. Hitler, according to Göring, had peculiar mood signals. If he came in humming a tune, you could approach him. He'd be pleasant. But if he was whistling, stay away. Everyone had to move aside and lower their eyes. That constant ambiguity between the exalted visionary and the intimidating tyrant led Göring to see past the myth. Over time, his perception of Hitler changed. Like many Germans, he initially believed in the promise of national renewal, order, and progress. But the more he saw behind closed doors, the clearer it became. This was not a savior, but a man full of contradictions, hiding behind his charisma a growing darkness. Herbert Göring served at the Berghof until the war's end. His presence in Hitler's life was quiet, almost invisible. But it was from that silence that he saw what many could not. A man, from the height of the mountains, building hell. Karl Wilhelm Krause. Karl Wilhelm Krause was Hitler's valet and personal bodyguard between 1934 and 1939. It wasn't just any job. It meant being inches from the Führer during one of the most pivotal eras of the 20th century. He got the position after just a 5-minute interview. But the hard part wasn't getting in, it was staying. Hitler was a formal man who loved receptions and surrounding himself with guests. He enjoyed conversation, the theater, and meeting with actresses, often advising them on makeup and hairstyles. But behind that social facade, he was deeply lonely. He lived consumed by his thoughts and mission. He insisted that having a wife would be pointless. He had no time, no real home, and no space for a family. He believed women supported his image precisely because he was single, and that marriage would break the illusion. Krause also dismissed rumors about Hitler's alleged homosexuality. He said the Führer was strongly attracted to women, particularly actresses. During trips, if a woman caught his eye on the street, he would ask for her name and address so he could invite her for coffee. He came across as eager, charming, and at times, even boyish. However, Hitler despised women with political ambitions. He believed politics was a man's domain. That belief further limited his personal life. Eva Braun, his longtime companion, was completely excluded from political affairs. Krause met her on his first day on the job, and they never got along. Eva would attend official events and be introduced as his wife, even though they weren't married. But in daily life, Hitler barely spoke to her. A defining moment Krause witnessed firsthand was the 1938 annexation of Austria. For Hitler, it felt like a personal coronation. He was overcome with emotion. He truly believed his triumphant entry into Vienna was the fulfillment of Germany's destiny. His reaction was pure jubilation, Krause remembered. He was convinced that his actions would benefit Germany and the German people. He wasn't pretending. He felt it in his bones.
Anspruchslos. Ich sagte nur dann, wenn Ausländer oder Frauen oder so irgendwie dabei waren, dann wollte er, dass so mehr oder weniger, dass die Etikette eingehalten wird. Aber sonst war ganz einfach.
Krause never tried to excuse him, but he believed in telling his story as he saw it. What happened under his regime is a terrible burden. It's the truth, no matter how painful. And it's our duty to pass it on honestly. Anna Plame. If Karl Wilhelm Krauss witnessed Hitler's rise, Anna Plame saw his decline, the silent, intimate side of a man already fallen in his own court of shadows. Plame worked as a maid at the Berghof for a year and became the last surviving person to have personally known Hitler. Her memories hold no speeches, no rallies, no marches, just routine, cleaning, meals, silence, and strict rituals. Her testimony complements Krauss's and offers a contrasting view, especially regarding Eva Braun, the forbidden woman of Germany.
Staatsgäste da waren, wo sie nicht offiziell vorstellen konnte. Ja. Da musste sie schon im Hintergrund bleiben.
In public, Eva didn't exist. In private, she was always present. Plame said the only times she saw Hitler and Eva together were during visits to the Eagle's Nest. Their relationship, from the staff's point of view, was distant. I never saw them kiss or hold hands, and the beds always looked untouched during the day, Anna recalled. But secrets lingered in the halls. According to her, her cousin's wife, Gretel, who also worked at the Berghof, showed her a hidden passage connecting Eva's and Hitler's rooms. Gretel was the one who got Eva medicine to delay her menstrual cycle when they knew Hitler would be visiting. Anna Plame doesn't judge, but she doesn't sugarcoat either. What she gives us is another side of the man who brought Germany to ruin, a look at his routines and his private world. Joseph Goebbels. Before becoming the fiercest voice of the Third Reich, Joseph Goebbels dreamed of writing poetry. But life took him down another path. Small, disabled, and bitter, he channeled his frustrations into unrelenting ambition and a fanatical devotion to one man, Adolf Hitler. Their encounter was an ideological lightning bolt. Goebbels didn't just find a leader, he found an idol. He admired Hitler with near religious intensity, writing in his diary, "I am with a man who works under God's protection." Hitler, in turn, saw in Goebbels a brilliant speaker, a master of language who could shape the masses. He named him Minister of Propaganda in 1933, and from that point on, Goebbels shaped not only the regime's image, but also Hitler's. "The German people want to be deceived," he once wrote, convinced that manipulation was a fine art. His propaganda machine produced anti-Semitic magazines, orchestrated book burnings, and launched terror campaigns across the media. He even ordered mice released in cinemas, showing pacifist films, and installed loudspeakers on every corner in Germany. So no one could escape the Führer's voice. Goebbels was more than a minister. He was a confidant, a close friend. During the collapse at Stalingrad, they spent entire nights by the fire. Hitler felt safe in his company. "I'm glad you're staying tonight. Your presence calms me," he once told him. Goebbels was elated. I had never seen him so affectionate. His whole being radiates extreme kindness. On January 23, 1943, as the Eastern Front crumbled, Goebbels proposed a desperate idea: total war. He wanted to militarize every corner of society, including women. Hitler accepted it all without hesitation. "From now on, we have a clear path," Goebbels wrote. "If we win, I'll go down in history as the architect of victory." But time was ruthless. By 1944, Goebbels saw a Hitler who was aging, weak, and trapped in a world of ghosts. On December 4th, Hitler made a surprise visit to the Goebbels family for tea. It had been years since he attended a private gathering. It was a carefully staged moment of warmth. The children in formal clothes, Magda smiling, and Hitler enchanted by little Helga and Hilda. That domestic scene would be one of the last before the collapse. When everything fell apart, Goebbels decided the world no longer deserved to exist. In the Berlin bunker, he poisoned his 6 children, his wife, and then killed himself. Until his final breath, he believed in Hitler and died with him, as he had always vowed. Getting a closer look at these private sides of Adolf Hitler is no trivial detail. It's a key to understanding how the monster was made, the one who dragged Europe into the abyss. Because before the dictator, before the genocidal maniac, there was a man. And it is that man we must understand, so we never repeat history. That's it for today's episode of Military History. If you found this content powerful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel so we can keep bringing you stories like this. Until next time.